A lot of people are keeping up with the numbers. That's why they keep coming back, and you see the resilience in the crypto markets. That's why you see them continue to come back and buy more crypto after crypto has a dip or a correction, because they're looking at the research. I told you, over the bloody bear market, a lot of people had time to up their researching skills, and now a lot of people are researching on their own. They know the catalyst. They know it's serious. I'm gonna show you one. I'm gonna give you a major one. And so they know what XRP is, what it's going to do. They know what Solana is going to do. They know what Bitcoin is going to do. They feel that for the first time, they feel like they know it for themselves. They didn't have to go to an extra source. They know for themselves. Now, this is why you get articles like this. XRP Solana lead altcoin ETP inflows as Ethereum slumps. I'm not worried about Ethereum slumping. I don't hold any Ethereum. That doesn't concern me. And I'm not a person where I want this to win, and because I want this to win, I have to step on that other thing to reach a new height. No, I reach a new height on my own. Whatever I'm involved in, it needs to be able to reach a height on its own. I don't need one thing to fall for something to rise that's just my way. But look at these numbers here. This is why this happens, right? Look at these numbers. I want to show you something. Now, we talked about B2B the other day, right? Those numbers alone are potent. Those numbers, if we take a swath of that, we take a piece of that, those numbers alone, enough to make any of these bank coins that's involved skyrocket in price, period. Not financial advice. Make up your own mind. But look at this. This is what it says here, folks. This is how you know it's getting serious. This is why all the big entities want a piece. This is why you have leadership, people in leadership positions saying they want crypto in the U.S. to dominate, quote unquote. All of a sudden, right? All of a sudden they want crypto to dominate. All of a sudden they're talking about XRP out in the open, right? Just out of nowhere. You think that's the case? No, there's a catalyst. Here's one. It says in 2024, the total value of cross-border payments, something that XRP specializes in, cross-border payments. The total value of the cross-border payments market, encompassing both wholesale and retail transactions, reached, get this, $194.6 trillion. What? That, I don't think people understand. Whether it's XRP, or Chainlink, or Solana, or Algorand, or XLM, it doesn't make a difference. If any of them takes a piece of this, and they're just now being unleashed. They haven't been fully unleashed yet. We still have some steps to go. You and I both know that. You're reading articles. We still have some steps to go. I mean, they're still even trying to get the new head of the SEC in or something like that, right? There's things, everything's in progress, in process right now. But they definitely can take a huge chunk of this for sure. $194.6 trillion. And we don't need to take the whole thing either. Just a good part of it. And it would change the pricing of those native tokens, protocol, whatever you call them, forever. It would change lives forever. This is why it's important. The articles that we have been covering, they've been extremely important. We covered an article where a few articles where the businesses themselves were telling you they're behind in technology. Did we not? That's one. Two, we've covered articles the last 2-3 months where the banks have come out and told everyone right to their face directly that they're behind and need the technology. That's two. 3. Now that was the big time commercial banks. 3, the central banks. I mean, minus one, who, if you remember my old school videos, is so intimidated that they're going to be put out to pasture because companies like Ripple and things they offer like XRP are so similar to what they once did and so superior that they just can't compete. Besides that one, all the other central banks in unison are not only bullish on the DLT technologies, telling other banks they have to congeal with the new system. But also you have the large bodies of those banks like Swift. Remember we covered the Swift document? That was like 2-3 weeks ago. And in that document, they literally said, you better get on board with certain new systems. Everything's about to change. And when we're talking about, Swift and ISO and DLT, et cetera, that's one aspect, one. And that's not the one that carries everybody to the next level. But even they said, listen, if you don't get on this system, there's going to be penalties for this. They have until the end of this year or something like that. I gave you the date. You can look into that when it comes around. Gave you the screenshot. Now, wait. It says both wholesale and resale transactions reached $196.4 trillion with non-wholesale payments. So why did they phrase it like that? So I guess you better put these two numbers together. It's bigger than I thought. With retail payments alone, here we go, $39.9 trillion. And something like XRP, the XRPL, specializes in both. They're the best of the best at the forefront for both. This is hardcore evidence. I'm giving you so many different things. If you don't know already, you can look up facts. And you're going to find, if you look any of these things up, you're going to find a multitude of articles talking about those things. Now, let's listen to this, folks. Let me click this little show more option here so I can see what else they have, because I see some numbers. Now, it says here, total cross-border payments market. The way they take a look at these numbers for yourself, okay? Take a look at these numbers for yourself. Look it up, please, and give it a read, all right? Because some of the ways that they're phrasing things here, I have to be real with you a little bit. It's a little bit confusing at times. But this is what it says. Total cross-border payments market, wholesale and retail, is projected to reach $320.2 trillion by 2032. That's a significant amount of capital, folks. Keep in mind, this is not taking into account. The trillions that come with interbank payments, of which we haven't even gotten an update on that. We haven't looked at those numbers in quite some time, deliberately so. I'm waiting until those potent numbers come out. I'm giving them enough time where if there's a significant amount of time, and then we can look at what's happening now and what was happening when we last looked at those numbers, and we can get a little comparison on did it go up, did it go down, what's happening with that. But this is not even including that. And we're talking trillions that are going to increase exponentially. Then it says here, just retail alone, okay? They're giving you a projection for retail by itself. It's projected to grow to $64.5 trillion by 2032. If that doesn't make the money hairs on the back of your neck stand up, I don't know what would. That's, and they even gave you a percentage here. That's a 62% increase. So now, as we circle back around, wait a minute, they got a little bit of B2B information here. Let's see if it's similar. So compare this B2B information to what we discussed yesterday and see if the numbers are similar. These are more numbers and percentages to add to, if people are keeping tabulations, of course, which I think is always wise. It says the B2B cross-border payments market had a total global size of 31.6 trillion in 2024. This is what they're saying from their sources. It says, and is set to grow, get this, by 58%. So now that is what's important, in my humble opinion, 58% to $50 trillion in 2032. Now that's significant because now what it tells me is, this is what's important here, in my opinion. They're all projected to grow exponentially. Did you see the article the other day that was talking about, trying to remember how it was phrased. It was speaking about trust in B2B. Oh my goodness. Did you see that article? Now it triggers something else. I can't believe what they're doing with the banking system. I try not to let it really, really peeve me. Because that banking system, they get away with so many things. I tell you, nothing but trouble. But there was an article that was saying how B2B has to be concerned with their reputation. Now, and it was in reference to cross-border payments and late payments. You know, they're way behind, but all of them are. But then, I beg your pardon. Give me a second. Sorry, my apologies. But then in that very same article, they're going to say, I'm paraphrasing, but banks don't have to worry. What? Why do banks always? I know why. Money talks, power talks. But I don't agree with that they're always given this way out. They should be held accountable for their reputations, just like B2B. They should be held to the same standard as not B2B, as large businesses. It's unbelievable. But anyway, so B2B, as well as wholesale, retail, all that stuff. Everything is projected to grow exponentially. So now, let's go here, okay? Wow, they actually break it down much further. It's unbelievable, the stats that they're able to give us now. So I might as well give you these numbers. Write them down if you want, or save them. Or if you listen to this video, you can look them up, okay? It says large enterprise goods, B2B market segmentation is expected to climb to $21.1 trillion by 2032. Next bullet point, large enterprise services is expected to grow to $7.7 trillion in 2032. So then you have this here, SMB goods. That's the third bullet point. SMB goods is expected to rise to $15.9 trillion in 2032. There's trillions everywhere. Do people believe that these companies that specialize in moving value for these other companies don't know that? So 15.9 trillion in 2032, by 2032. And remember, SME is the same thing. Small, medium-sized businesses, SMEs. Beg your pardon once again. I don't know what's happening with me. SMEs, small, medium-sized enterprises. Now, so SMB services is expected to rise to $5.3 trillion in 2032. So everything is increasing. Now, I mean, to a lesser extent, one must ask themselves, why? Why is this happening? Why is everything expected to increase so dramatically? Now, if you find that catalyst, then things get really interesting. There's an effect for every cause, and for every cause, there's a B cause. Why is everything expected to rise so exponentially? Then when you find that out, find the connection between that catalyst and the bank coins. And then you'll really, and how it affects the bank coins. Then you'll really, really have your mind blown. All right. So now let's move on here to this next thing. So we're going to move on here. This article is titled Bitcoin is quote unquote more likely to hit $110,000 before 76.5K. This is coming from Arthur Hayes. All right. So let's hear him out and see what he has to say. If there's anything new information we can gather from him. It says Bitcoin is more likely to soar to a new $110,000 all-time high on easing monetary policy than to stage another correction below 77,000. Yeah, I agree with that. Good point. Good point. You got right to the point. Easing monetary policy. All right. I can agree to that. And listen, folks, there's too many positive catalysts. I mean, you keep saying that. It's true. So you got easy monetary policy. You have the possibility, folks, listen, they're floating the idea of some sort of, how did they phrase it? What was it called? It's like a stimulus check. Did they call them dividend checks? Something like that. I don't know. It's not just the U.S. and it's unbelievable. Before the U.S., right? And this is what my people are telling me. Before the U.S. is floating that idea, I read about somewhere else. I'm trying to remember if it was, and the articles were buried. I mean, that news was buried, not the U.S. one, but I believe, and I could be wrong, this was maybe 2 months ago. The idea was floated, I think, in China. I think that's where I heard it. I read an article like that. They were trying to do something where they were going to give a certain amount to people, because a lot of these countries, let's be honest, their economies haven't been doing well. And so a lot, and over the years, what I've seen every single time economies are not doing well, we see some type of value infusion every single time. And it's just that when the U.S. talks about something like that, it's big news. For some reason, other countries don't get the same type of news run. But we've seen it before. I saw it once. This was maybe 3 years ago, if you remember. I've seen, I believe it was the UK did it once, and they kept it quiet. Japan has done it before, years ago. China definitely has done it multiple times. So listen, what we're talking about, don't focus on the U.S., think globally. If at some point over the next few years, you have this value making its way into the system, and if we look at it in a more specific way, if some of that value does make it into the hands of regular people in the form of stimulus checks or dividend checks, whatever, that is going to make its way into investments. It is. The people are not going by the data. There's no way the people are letting that sit in savings accounts. It's not good. No, they didn't do it before. They didn't. They were spending that money left and right. And what have we seen? What have we seen also paired with, not only what have we seen, what have the banks showed us? The banks have been, without being disrespectful, the banks have been complaining about losing business to who? Money market funds, NBFIs, assets. People have been taking their money out of the bank en masse. And have you noticed how that information got buried? You think anything changed? What has changed? The banks didn't change. So why would that activity change? The banks haven't gotten better. Why would that activity change? It hasn't. So the people are not, this is what I'm saying. I'm leading you to this conclusion. I'm leading us to this conclusion. I don't believe they're going to, if that doesn't indeed happen, it's not going to just sit in some savings account. Look at the last time, and let's focus back on the U.S. just for a moment. But this is going to happen everywhere because they're loosening the regulations around, the negative verbiage around crypto all around the world. Even China's loosening up. Everybody's getting ready for this major push in crypto. And anyone can read about it. Anyone. It's right there in front of everyone's face. So if that money does make its way into the hands of the people, what happened before? A lot of it went into crypto. The last time that happened, crypto exploded. People had capital to play with. And that's how a lot of people look at anything that they receive where it's looked at as extra. They look at it as something to play with, where they might take their paycheck a little bit more seriously. They may take something they earned a little bit more seriously, even though that capital really is their own, making its way back into their hands. They still look at it as a bonus, as something they didn't have before. They didn't expect it. And now it's here. It's something to play with. And when I say play, I don't mean it in a childish way. I mean, it's something where they can invest it, double, triple the, that value. And I think not financial advice. And I think that they can. I think that they're going to. But we'll wait. We have to wait and see. All of that has to actually happen first. But I'm saying things like that, it's an example. Things like that are major catalyst. So now you don't have to ask me like, Mick, you always say there's a multitude of major catalysts. And we've been discussing them, right? We've been discussing them. And once again, I referenced that video like 2 videos back. That company said for that industry, it would behoove them. Yeah, I'm whipping out an old word. I'm going to give you the knife hand too. It would behoove them to hold Bitcoin because it would benefit them business-wise. They need the extra capital. And I said, other businesses feel the same. They do. They're just not brave enough and bold enough. They're going to come out and say it to you. They're not. But they feel that exact same way. That's going to be major. In my mind, I'm sure of it. I'm sure. I don't know when things are going to happen. I don't know when. I'm not a psychic, but I'm certain of this. And I'm going to tell you what else. And then we'll go to, let's see if we have any more articles here. I'll tell you what else. We have some gold news, some Solana. I think you're going to see a lot of negative manipulation, or at least attempts, negative manipulation, because these companies pay close attention to how they're talking about Bitcoin and these other utility coins. They're hungry for them, right? Okay. They're talking positively of them, correct? Correct. So that means they desire them. So they logically are businesses that want to make capital. They're not going to buy something that's up here so then they can get sold on. So it's in their best interest to attempt to bring the price down by any means necessary. Any means necessary. I would be careful of certain information. You start seeing waves of negative information. I'm not saying don't read it, don't look at it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying consider it. Consider the possibilities. Is what they're talking about, if it's a negative, if it's a real negative catalyst, because some are not. Some are still just with the whole, oh no, crypto bad. Crypto, no intrinsic value. Like, what, man? It's going to make value. It's made tons of value. That's what matters. That's real, period. People are spending it. They're buying mansions. They're buying all the stuff they always wanted. They're taking care of their families. That's real. But they'll come out with these superficial things just to see if they can shake up the people, because it'll bring that price down. Remember, by any means necessary. I will be careful of that in the coming months. And when you start to see that ramp up, they will ramp it up right before there's a pump. I start questioning that. As soon as I start seeing too much negative information just flooding, I already know what's going on. Bring that down, bring it down. They're pulling the rubber band back. But the rubber band is going to go equally that way. They're pulling the pendulum back. Maybe that's better. The pendulum back, but the pendulum swing equally this way as it does this way. So if it goes here into the negative, it's going to go that way into the positive sooner rather than later. They know it. So anyway, it's just something that's on my mind. So you have that. Then you have this article here. Maybe we'll probably end off on this. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about, folks. They know what's coming. They're getting prepared. Strategy buys another $584 million worth of Bitcoin. I told you, watch them. So we see BlackRock doing it. We see other large asset managers doing it. Now you have Strategy doing it. Do you think they're doing this to lose money? They're doing this. And why now? Why now? Because they know it's going up significantly. They don't want to be left behind. They're not going to be left behind. Now, how many are going to really cover this? Right? How many big media outlets are going to cover this? Is this going to get buried? Are they talking? I don't know what people are saying. I keep to myself. That's the way that I am. I'm at an age now where I'm comfortable with who I am, how I am. So I don't know what people talk about. But you tell me, are people going to cover this or let this stuff be buried? These are major activities that are showing where everything is going. These people aren't putting this kind of money up to lose money. They're not. Something major is coming. Golden age. You're starting to hear other people use that verbiage. I've been saying that since last year. You're starting to hear other people say golden age because it's true. They couldn't escape it. Back then, it wasn't popular. I'm like, but I've always been against the grain. I've always been like that. And I always reference the Styles P line. He said, if the world spins in a circle, I want to learn to move backwards. That's me. I'm going to move backwards. The world go this way. I'm going to go this way. All the people go that way. I'm going to go this way. I walk my own path. But see, what happens is some people have to start admitting the truth. And that's That's just the truth. And you could disagree with it. That's perfectly fine. When I say the truth, it means that there's a highest percentage of possibility that it's going to happen. There's an explosion to come. That's why they're doing this. Look at this. Strategy buys an additional $584 million in Bitcoin, boosting its holdings above, get this, above 500,000 BTC. They're getting their plate ready so that when it's time and the meal is cooked, they can eat. I told you, and like I said, you don't have to agree with me. This is my opinion. This is what I think. It does not need to, unless you find you're led to that same conclusion yourself. You don't have to agree. I'm not one of those people, and I can still be cool with you. It's the same way. It's like boxing or any martial arts. We can spar. You could get the best of me. What's that? That mean nothing. We'll still be cool. So what? Life goes on. But I feel strongly like people. It's not just these big timers. A lot of people from top to bottom, mostly the people that are regular people, salt of the earth, are going to feast. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. Let me try not to hit this microphone. It's a couple of times I hit it and it stopped. It muted the video. Then I had to redo the video. Oh, I don't want to do that. So let me be careful. But now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.